There's been a lot of videos featuring flock cameras lately, and I guess I'll add mine to the mix too. I prefer to make silly videos, but this whole privacy invasion thing is really worrying. I live a quiet, private life in a small building in the woods, but sometimes I do have to venture out into civilization, which I don't mind. At least I didn't mind until I saw these cameras appearing more and more in town. It makes me feel kind of helpless, and I wanted to do something to push back, even though I'm practically a hermit most of the time. So I had an idea. Most people in my area aren't as terminally online as I am. They might not be aware of all the concerns being voiced all over the internet. So to bring awareness, I'll spread the word in person by wearing it in public on a shirt. I started by opening my favorite art program, and while making a design to put on a shirt, I came across this video by one of my favorite creators, Car Coach Reports, who I highly recommend paying a visit to. Here's what she had to say about the CEO of Flock.
I've listened to this interview several times, and here's what jumped out to me.
Everywhere and increased surveillance everywhere.
Yeah.
There's an organisation called Flock, who are semi-well known now, I guess, if you're interested in this stuff, who take a fairly aggressive approach in terms of counting the number of cameras and having a Discord channel where they talk about potential, activities to move against Flock and stop it expanding. What do you think of that organisation and the way they go about their business?
Yeah. So, I think there's really two groups of activists. You've got organizations like the ACLU and the EFF who take an above-board approach to fight for their point of view. And thankfully, we live in a beautifully democratic, capitalistic country where we can fight in court. And I have a lot of respect for those groups because they have reasonable debates and we follow the law. And then, unfortunately, there's terroristic organizations like Flock, whose primary motivation is chaos. They are closer to Antifa than they are anything else. And that, I think, is unfortunate because we don't want chaos, or I don't want chaos. I like law and order. I like a society that has a bedrock of safety. So for those groups, I think it's just disappointing that they haven't chosen a more constructive mannerism to try to get what they want, which they have a right to have, but that's why we have a democratically elected process, right? Like we're not forcing Flock on anyone. Elected officials know that as a community, you want to be safe. As a family, you want to be safe. And Flock is the best way to create a safe community.
I'm not sure Flock would agree with the terroristic label that you put on them, but okay.
Let's start with the facts because I'm not interested in exaggerating the story. Garrett Langley didn't say everyone who criticizes Flock is a terrorist. He did not say everyone sharing camera locations is a terrorist. That's simply not true. And if we're going to criticize someone, we should criticize them for what they actually said and not what social media wishes they had said. What he did say is that Flock is a terroristic organization. Those are his exact words.
Wait, what? Anyways, the shirt was made at my local print shop, and I've worn it around town for about a week and a half, even at the risk of being But here it is, the grand reveal. I think it turned out pretty good. Here on the front, I have the Flock logo, and I think it looks pretty good. And you flip it over, and here on the back, I added a Flock camera image so people could recognize it whenever they drive past them. And I also made a list of the wonderful Flock features. It's not much, but at least I'm pushing back in my own small way.